Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and today I am driving a 2021 Hyundai Accent SE. Up front is a 1.6 liter inline 4, and down below is a CVT. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Hyundai Accent because the Accent is actually no longer sold here in the United States. There is a new generation for India, which I think actually looks quite attractive, but the Accent is gone from Hyundai's US lineup, and I think that leaves a pretty big gap. And so I'm excited to share with you why that is, as well as sort of why the economy car here in the States is going away. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. Last but not least, huge thank you to North Naperville Autos for letting me borrow their Accent for today's video. More on them towards the end of the video, but if you'd like to browse their inventory, you can do so down in the description below. But let's get back to that 1.6 liter inline 4 under the hood. Well, it makes 120 horsepower. It is not powerful at all. It is not helped out by any turbochargers. And as time went on, it actually started to lose power. We're back in the 2010s. It actually made about 130 horsepower. They decreased it to 120. Honestly, though, you don't really have to worry about reliability with these engines too much outside of what you would normally expect out of an economy car. Is this a 500,000 mile motor? Probably not. But is it going to blow up your second day of ownership? Also, probably not. So it's a solid enough for what it needs, and this car has 37,000 miles, which means it probably has a fair amount of life left. Now, like I said, paired to it is a CVT. Again, previously in the 2010s, they were using 6-speed automatics. They then switched to the CVT for better fuel economy, and this is where it gets a little bit muddy. It's kind of luck of the draw when it comes to Hyundai CVTs. Some have had great reliability, others haven't. And so that's a slight gamble you might want to take. Treat this like strawberries that you buy at the supermarket. Keep them in the fridge for a couple days. They'll be great. A week later, you're probably fine, but I wouldn't count on this to be a 10-year-old, 30-year-old, 50-year-old car with its original CVT. So that's just kind of my thinking. Does that bother me? No, not really. These were cheap, sort of disposable cars, and that transmission is cheap and disposable. Last but not least, the Hyundai Accent is, of course, front-wheel drive. How does it feel to drive the Hyundai Accent? Well, it feels like I just landed in a new city and picked up the keys at a Hertz or budget rent-a-car countertop. It's fine. It's very, very boring. The driving experience is very numb, but visibility is good. Ride quality is okay enough. It doesn't jar me around. It's not a talking point for me, which for an economy car is where I want it to be. I don't expect a plush ride. I don't expect a super sporty ride. I just don't want my back broken on these Chicago potholes, and that's the experience I'm getting. Here we go. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 physical gauges and a little screen. Off to the left is the tachometer and coolant temperature. Off to the right, speedometer and fuel. And we get that screen in the middle, giving me my average MPG, odometer, outside temperature, and things like that. On the steering wheel, on the left, we do have our mute and mode, as well as volume and skip track. And off to the right, we have trip, which will actually bring up our trip odometer. This normally is not found on the steering wheel. Very odd placement here for the Hyundai Accent, but we also have our cruise control, which is a nice feature given that the SE was the base model. Off to the left, we have a climate control vent, gauge dimmer switch, and traction control off. And moving on to the door, we have the latch to get in and out, power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we get our infotainment display. This is very, very small, and this is literally only in the car because Hyundai was legally required for you to have a backup camera post-2018. That is the only reason this gets a touchscreen radio. It is not fancy. It is not wowing me. This is the equivalent of a pacifier for the government because Hyundai was like, shut up about the backup camera. We'll put one in. And they did. And that's it. Here it is. It is touchscreen, but I mean, it makes an iPod Nano look big. Then we do have some physical buttons for that radio. We have power and tune and things like that. Then we have our climate controls. Extremely simple here. Temperature off to the left, fan speed in the center, where to send it off to the right. Then we do have our drive mode select. So we do have a sport mode here in the Hyundai Accent, My apologies, Hyundai Accent. I wasn't familiar with your game. But then we do have two 12-volt outlets in case you got two radar detectors to plug in. We also have an aux and USB-A, a cubby, the shifter in the center, very standard there, and cup holders that fail the big friggin' bottle test because poor people don't deserve big bottles. That's Hyundai saying that. That's not me saying that. I think you deserve as much water in as big of a bottle as you can humanly want. Then we do get a physical handbrake. Very nice to see that. I mean, I enjoy that. And then we have the seats. The seats are cloth. They are manual. They are boring. They are uninteresting as the day is long. But they hold me within the car. That is their sole purpose, and they're fulfilling that purpose here today. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's hop back there and do a backseat review in the Hyundai Accent SE. All right, getting in the back of the Hyundai Accent SE. Oh, yeah. Okay, it's a little crammed, but to be expected. My knees are hitting the seat in front of me. My head is coming very close to hitting the ceiling. Is it hitting the ceiling directly? If I slouch a little bit, no. I'm 5'11". It works enough. I could sit back here for a little bit of time. The driver could be nice and scoot up a little bit, and it wouldn't be a huge issue. It has 4 seats, it has 5 seat belts, and so if you need to carry people, you absolutely can. Would I recommend this? Is this the car that I would personally drive across the country with some friends? Probably not, but you can do it. And that, again, that was the whole point of this car. It had to be sort of this multi-tool of a vehicle, and so it has back seats, and it has decent ones at that. So there you go. There's my sunglasses. Same cloth material from the front carries on. It's fine enough. But let's take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. Right around the back of the Hyundai Accent SE, here on the key fob, we do have a trunk popper if you hold it, and it actually will pop the trunk up quite a bit because the trunk itself is pretty light, and these struts are actually pretty strong. Once we are back here, these are the floor mats for the next owner. I like to keep those nice and pristine. We do get a spare tire as well as a toolkit. Very, very nice. But other than that, nothing too crazy back here to really note or talk about. It's a trunk of an economy car. And honestly, I found that most economy cars actually do have pretty good trunk sizes because, again, like the back seat, they have to be a multi-tool and do a lot of things. So you'll be able to move in and out of college in the back of one of these okay enough. Maybe leave the oversized beanbag chair at your parents' house. But other than that, you should be able to fit all your clothes and your guitar that you're never going to touch throughout college. You can leave it right there in the back. Definitely not speaking from experience. But there you go. That's the cargo space of the Hyundai Accent. Now we got to talk about the looks. And I honestly don't hate the styling of the Hyundai Accent. Do I think it's beautiful? No. Do I think it's hideous? No. It's right in the middle. You know, most economy cars land in that area at some point, and it's fine. You know, the styling department wasn't really the highest paid on this vehicle. And so this car was all about saving money, all about being efficient. And the styling doesn't really play into that all that well. It is red. You know, I'm happy to see that it's not rental car white or rental car silver or rental car black. It's a red color, which I'm sure was an option that probably a lot of people didn't get when they were trying to save money. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the Hyundai Accent SE from 2021? Why would I want to drive this? Well, I think it's important to drive this. First of all, I haven't driven an Accent this new. I've done the 2014 Accent hatchback. I did the late 90s, early 2000s Accent. But I missed the ending of the Accent. The Accent just kind of went away, and honestly, I didn't even really notice. And so I wanted to give it a little bit of a send-off. I think the Accent overall, throughout its lineage, was a pretty good car. Yes, it had its faults. Yes, it had some reliability issues. But it always came in a few bucks shorter of any of the domestic cars. It always had relatively fine enough features, and it got you by when you needed it to. This is the ramen noodles of cars. Is it anyone's first pick? No, but when you're in college and you have no money and you're scraping by, you know, it's a beacon in the night. That's what the Hyundai Accent always was. Would it ever be my first choice of automobile in any scenario? No, but cars are expensive these days. And so this is affordable wheels at the end of the day. Why are economy cars going away? Why am I making so many videos these days about, oh, this car's dead, this car's gone, this car's gone? The cheapest car you could buy in the US now is over $20,000. About $23,000 is the cheapest you'll find brand new. Why are these economy cars going away? Well, there's a couple of reasons. First of all, because of rising material prices, labor prices, all of that, the average price of the car starts to go up. This brand new was about $17,000 in 2021. Now, $17,000 isn't nothing. And so, when the economy cars started to get that expensive, they start to compete with the secondhand market. Why would I buy a brand new Hyundai Accent when I could buy a few-year-old Toyota or Lexus that's going to be more reliable but also have heated seats, a heated steering wheel, maybe a sunroof, have the options that I desire? Why would I buy this over a 2015 Lexus GS350? That's sort of my basis go-to affordable car that's going to be reliable and have good features. When these two are pitted up against each other and you're going to have a decent sized car payment anyway, why wouldn't you go with the Lexus? The other reason that these started to die is just the public perception that smaller cars are less safe. Everyone knows the story about the lady who got blown off the Mackinac Bridge in a Yugo. Everyone remembers Suzuki Samurais tipping over, or at least these stories that we've been told. And so smaller equals worse in American minds. Now, the Hyundai Venue has replaced this car in the marketplace, and honestly, it's so similarly sized, but it just looks like it's bigger. That has captured more people's attention. Now they're like, oh, well, that's an SUV. It really ain't. It really ain't. But perception is 90% of why someone will buy a car. And the last reason is the fact that cars are status symbols. And so again, it goes back to why wouldn't I buy the cheaper luxury car as opposed to the new economy car? Pulling up in your 0-mile, brand new, hot off the lot Hyundai Accent to the parent-teacher conference isn't going to win you any brownie points. No one is going to be shocked or impressed by your new Hyundai. But if you pull up in a Lexus, you pull up in an older Mercedes, you pull up in a 5-10-year-old BMW, oh, John's doing pretty well. He's got a BMW. Little does he know he bought that for $17,000 at a buy here, pay here lot, and it has 170,000 miles on it. At least he's perceived as being successful, where when you buy a Hyundai Accent, you probably aren't. So unfortunately, this segment is dying. If not, it's already dead. There aren't really any smaller economy cars left. The Accent was a pretty good one. All things considered, it got me where I needed to go. I was comfortable enough, and I didn't die. Hey, that's a big bonus. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to North Naperville Autos for letting me borrow their Hyundai Accent for today's video. They are absolutely awesome. They always have cool and interesting vehicles on the lot. I was so excited to see a Hyundai Accent pop up because I knew I got to spend some time with this lovely little car. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.